Welcome to Valuification of Things, your one-stop podcast on the discussion of value, and especially business value. This is a forum where your host, Sri Sundaram, will be discussing topics on how to quantify value for practically any scenario. Along the way, we will have business leaders and subject matter experts describing their value journey. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this podcast episode.
Hello, I'm Sri Sundaram, your host. In today's episode, we'll discuss the nexus and influence of AI technologies such as ChatGPT, Bard, LLMs, which are large language models, on accelerating digital transformation or DT in an enterprise. ChatGPT and Bard are the new rage these days, and they have certainly seen their place with end users. But can organizations gainfully use AI technologies to digitally transform themselves faster? Today, we have an industry leader in this conversation who has been doing this for many years, and I'm excited to hear his points of view on this matter. Eric Chaniot is an accomplished executive and digital thought leader with over 30 years of experience in the technology and mobility industries. Currently, he's a general manager of data and AI-driven customer transformations at Microsoft. Prior to that, he was the chief digital officer for Michelin Tires. Earlier, he held senior leadership positions at HP and Apple, besides being a serial entrepreneur. In his current role at Microsoft, he frequently helps companies envision their digital transformation journeys. Hello, Eric, and welcome to the Valuification of Things.
Yes, Sri, how are you? Very nice to be with you today.
Thank you, Eric. So before we begin, Eric, everyone speaks about what digital transformation is. They have different kinds of definitions there. Can we start out by discussing what it is not?
Yeah, I think what most of the companies, when we talk about digital transformation, they get confused, I think, about two things. Number one is that usually we tell them that every company should become a technology company. And as you know, for most of the traditional companies, they don't really understand what that means, becoming a technology company. And what we tell them is that we don't want them to become Microsoft. No. But we want them to be able to be dangerous enough to be able to understand enough, what the big technology companies they are doing, that then they could take advantage of all the investment that all the big companies they are making. So anyway, so that's the first one, right? So the second thing is that at the end of the day, the digital transformation of company, it is not a technology challenge. And, as you know, I was the chief digital officer at Michelin. And after 6 months, I understood that. And I will tell everybody that it's 95% about people, mindset, culture, change management, and only 5% about technology. So at the end of the day, it is not a technology challenge, right? It's really a human challenge. How do you integrate, all the digital, everything into traditional companies?
Thanks for that clarity, Eric. And that aligns very well with my thinking too. So let's get to the topic at hand. With all the buzz of the current generation of AI technologies, there's ChatGPT this, there's Bard that, and there's LLM this and LLM that. How do you think it impacts the pace of digital transformation in enterprises? Does it change it significantly or not?
Yeah, I think it's a really a drastic acceleration, and the reason for that, and as you know, there is several ways to take advantage of generative AI, but the most easy way, right, is just to use investments made by technology companies and just give access to your data, of course, in a secured way. But you just take all the investment that the tech companies they are making, then you give access to your data, you give access to the data coming from your organization, and guess what? What could happen extremely quickly is massive productivity gains, right? And let me tell you, Sri, I have been meeting with CEOs and the C-suite now for several months. Everybody is interested to understand, what is the impact on that productivity. But also, they are very interested to understand, how should they master that? How should they get organized that they could be able to take, advantage of this technology. So just the short answer to your question, it's a massive acceleration, and clearly either you will have companies who will take advantage of all these technologies, and that will accelerate their digital transformation, or if they don't do that, then they will be in trouble as compared to their competitor. So I think that the barrier to entry for companies to be able to leverage a generative AI, I think it's easy. It's low. Now it depends on what you want to do with generative AI, but the productivity gains I think could be achieved very quickly, by most of the companies in the world.
So it's great that you talk about business productivity, Eric. So in your journeys and conversations with CFOs, not CEOs but CFOs, right? What are some other key business value areas that a CFO might be looking for to say, hey, Eric, if you want me to do AI in my company, tell me what are the other benefits besides productivity?
Yeah, I think so I think that there is two things. So I was with some execs, and just the day I was with them, so we had the CEO, the CFO, and all these direct reports. And just the days before, they had the strategy days when they will talk about the strategy, for the next 5 years, right? And it was very interesting because then we had the specific day on generative AI, and then at the end of the day on generative AI, they said to us, "Oh my God, we really need to strategically rethink our workforce. What will be the shape of our workforce, in 3, 4, 5 years from now? Because clearly, you are not only gaining productivity, but you are really reinventing, some of the work that people they are doing every day, right? So Sri, I will argue that CEO is interested by that, the CFO is interested by that, but also the chief people officer is very interested by that, right? What is the evolution of the workforce, in this new era, of Gen AI? And in my previous life, I saw some of the benefits of AI, and I remember, we use AI technology to simplify and reduce the time it was taking us to manage claims, right? And at the beginning, the services people, they were nervous because, they thought that, AI potentially could completely replace what they were doing, right? So anyway, so what happens is that, so we reduced the time, drastically that it was taking us to manage claims, right? But then we use the humans, on the claims that were much more challenging. And so if you think about that, these teams, they were swamped with claims. Some of them were easy, and then they really appreciated the fact that AI was able to, assist them. And then the other one that are the more difficult one, then guess what? They use their brand, they use their empathy, they use their creativity, all this kind of thing. So anyway, so I think that there is a clearly gain in productivity, but I think in the quality of the work that you are doing, I think for everybody, including us, you and me, Sri, I really think that, I read an article, it was very interesting. They say Gen AI is like the world's best intern. And I really like this picture, right? And I'm using it now, and oh my God, it's the world's best intern. It's not going to replace me now. It's going to make me better, me being able to focus on what I like to do and not on the things that, have not that much value. So anyway.
No, that's a very, very insightful way of putting it, Eric. I'm going to steal that. The world's best intern, right? that is fantastic. So, I mean, nothing is free in this world, Eric. I'm sure there's some challenges, right? With Gen AI, there's stereotyping and fake news and fake content, all of that. So, what are some of the challenges that you see that organizations have talked to you about, in developing these AI programs?
Yeah, so I think I will probably do 3 ones. The first one is that if you don't have data, you have no AI. And as we know, and you know that as much as I do, Sri, when we take a look at traditional companies, They have data everywhere. They have data that in various silos across the organization. And if the AI is not able to have access to this data, then guess what? There is no AI. There is no generative AI. So I think that there is really an acceleration on the data transformation. Being able to feed AI. And again, as you know, no data, no AI, right? So anyway, so that's the first one. The second one, it's really a question of organization. And again, in my previous life, years ago, we created something that we called the AI Transformation Factory. And it's really a group of people, and it's a mix of, IT, technical, data scientists, kind of people, but also people coming from the business side who are regrouping together and who are going, back to your question, to really understand, what could be the benefits of AI, not only on traditional, productivity gains, but also on the core, on manufacturing, on R&D, this kind of thing. And I really believe that, we talked about digital factory in terms of digital transformation. I really believe that companies will need to invest and will need to be these AI factories, because, for a traditional company, it doesn't make sense to have a little bit of AI people across the various businesses, regions, and stuff like that. It will not be, an economical model. So anyway, so they need to build this kind of factory. And then the last one is everything around responsible AI, because as you know, you cannot let AI, be too loose, right? You cannot let AI manage the relationship between you, your customers, your people, your employee. You cannot do that, right? You need to make sure that the AI is doing what the AI is supposed to do, right? So it's a little bit connected to the AI Transformation Factory. So how do you make sure that you have groups of people who are, quote, quote, monitoring, coaching the AI system to make sure that the AI, is delivering what it's supposed to deliver. So I will say that in all the discussions, the data discussion always come, how do they get organized? And then how do they get organized on responsible AI? That's probably the three areas, the three challenges.
So thanks. Those are some great challenges, real challenges that I see. So when we come back, I will ask Eric if there are compelling examples of AI-infused digital transformation programs that he has seen already, or after the break.
This episode of Valuification of Things is sponsored by Valuify. Valuify is a free tool that allows you to create business value models. Go to valuify.net and click download to begin your valuification journey.
So welcome back. Today we have Eric Chaniot, GM of Data and AI at Microsoft for customer-driven transformations. He gave us a good understanding of what digital transformation is not, and the influence of AI in DT programs, DT meaning digital transformation. He also provided some salient benefits of AI infusion, as well as some key challenges that need to be overcome in enterprises. In this section, we will get Eric to speak about successful examples of AI-driven DT. We will ask him if organization culture still has a place with the rapid influx of AI-driven decisions. We'll also talk to him about the predictions for the future. So Eric, in the various discussions that you're having with your customers, what are some good examples of AI-driven digital transformation programs that you're able to share?
So on digital transformation related to AI, I think that there is one area where we have more history than the others, and we have to keep in mind that generative AI is new, right? It's not exactly. We are not talking about years, we talk about months. But one area where we see drastic benefits, it's everything around software development. And clearly in the software development area, we see significant productivity boost. But then the second thing also is that we see that developers, they are really able to focus on when they have a lot of value add, right? So when they can really express all the power of their brand. It was very interesting, recently, and I cannot give the name of the customer, but so we started to deploy this kind of solution for the development organization, and inside you had some developers who were not comfortable about that. They felt that, they could be threatened on their job. So anyway, so after 6 weeks of using, AI, in the development job, what was very interesting is that they moved from naysayer to the biggest advocates we ever saw. And the reason for that is that if you think about software development, the testing is something that none of the developer is excited by. The documentation, none of the developer is excited by. No, they are interested to write code, right? So, as I said before, you have the world's best intern. So you write the code, and then you will have your intern who will take care of this kind of stuff. So anyway, so that's one area where clearly we see the benefits already. And we see the benefits, again, in productivity, which is good for the company, but also in terms of the work, that you are doing every day. Now, if you think about that, and the fact that every company needs to be more dangerous on the technology side, and the fact that there is a shortage of software developers, think about that, right? All the traditional companies, oh my God, they should embrace Gen AI, because that will be a way for them to have a compelling software organization, but at an affordable cost, and being able, to leverage, the best of the best. There is another example that I love. There is something that one day you have to show on your podcast, is that so we start to see these kind of tools, right? And we start to have a lot of customers who have access to, Gen AI. And the best one, the one that I really like the most is, so there is a new option when you use Gen AI in Teams. And what you can do is that you can follow a meeting, okay? So you don't have to be at the meeting. You're just going to ask AI to follow the meeting. So, and then what's happening after that is that you have an executive summary of the meeting, but also you can ask AI some questions. So what did Sri talk about during the meeting? What are the action items that I took during the meeting if I was not at the meeting? So anyway, when you think about that again, it's the world's best intern, right? So you have someone who is carefully listening to everything. And then, now I'm wondering if that many people will continue to be at the meeting when it will be, vastly deployed. So anyway, so we see that. And now we start to see AI, Gen AI also on the core business of companies. So if you are in the chemical business, if you are in the pharmaceutical business, clearly Gen AI, could discover new compounds, new drugs that will take more time, just the humans by themselves to be able to do that. So anyway, so we see an area of, and again, we're just at the beginning. So I think it's just the beginning, and then, as we'll have more history, that we'll be able to leverage more.
So I appreciate what you just said, Eric. It has really been in place since the end of last year, right? So it's still, the implications of that is yet to be seen. But given that Wall Street is notoriously impatient, right? They're always looking for results. The shareholders are. If a CFO were to ask, when can we potentially see some plausible results? Maybe in about 2 years from now or 1 year from now?
Oh no, before that, no. I think in terms of there is several levels on how you could leverage a Gen AI, but really the first level, which is improving the productivity of most of your workers, no matter where they are. They could be in services, they could be in marketing, they could be in sales, they could be anywhere. I think it's today, right? So now today. We're building capacities, right, that companies could leverage that at scale, but it's really today. And I think that for them as a CFO, I will really think about, what are my investments for the next 2, 3, 4 years, and specifically my investment, in terms of the workforce and the workforce evolution, because clearly Gen AI will have an impact. And so anyway, and I don't know if I can talk about the book. There is a great book. It's called The Human Plus Machine. And I really like this book because when you read this book, you really understand that AI, it's almost like a second brain, but it's not the main brain that we have as humans, but it's a brain that is able, to discover things, to crunch lots of data, these kind of things. But it's still a second brain. It's not the main brain, or main brain with the main brain. But now, what does it mean? If you are planning to hire 500 software developers, okay, do you still do that, or do you do that a little bit differently? If you are to hire, marketing people, do you do the same, or do you want some people who are natively, comfortable with digital and AI, right? So anyway, so I think for the executive, really thinking very hard on the kind of workforce. So understanding, by the way, everything that is going on, and then being able to understand, what will be the evolution of the workforce, I think is key. There is another example that I saw, which is amazing. Inside Excel, there is thousands of options inside Excel, lots of options, right? And I don't know, Sri, if you know all the options that you have. No, it's crazy, right? There is so many, right? Now I saw the demonstration of GenAI inside Excel, and it's amazing because you are going to ask in natural language the outcome that you want to get, and then Excel is going to use the best functions that they have to do that. You don't even know to know that. You don't even know to know which one they are using. Okay. Oh my God, it's amazing, right? So anyway. So rethinking, I think the evolution of the work inside your company, I think, is critical.
So one of the things that you just talked about Excel, I know made a thought in me, Eric, is historically there was the culture of subject matter experts, right?
Right.
There were a bunch of people in the organization people used to go to. Now with the infusion of AI, there's a democratization of knowledge, right? So knowledge and expertise is more easily pervasive now. So there's a section about how organization culture have always played a key part in how companies operated the business, right? The level of risk that was taken, right? The pace of innovation that was allowed, how disruptive influences were embraced. They were all these are the things that are all symptomatic of how organizations thought about it, especially the leaders, the culture, right? So given that a lot of the decisions are planned to be driven with the help of data, with the help of AI, do you think, Eric, if culture still has a place in organizations, is there a belief now that because I've outsourced my decision making to an intern, like you said, right? I've outsourced my decision making, at least part of it, to AI. Can expect now that the culture to be uniform across organizations. So bottom line is, Eric, it's a long-winded way of asking you, does culture still play a part in today's business with AI?
Yeah, I think so. Two things. So number one, so I have a son. He's 14 years old, and he was supposed to write an English paper, and he has a tutor, and he wrote something, and then the tutor said to him, "Okay, you did not write that because the English is perfect. You did not do that yourself, right?" So anyway, and my point behind that is that I think that in this case, I've been in the tech world for some times. I never saw technology that is impacting that many people, no matter how old they are. And I never saw technology. It took 2 months for ChatGPT to reach 100 million users. We never saw that. It's first time ever, right? So anyway, so I think that everybody, no matter what, like with every innovations, right? Either you resist it, or either you embrace it and you take advantage of it, right? So anyway, so I think that when you see your kids doing that, I really believe that, okay, as part of a growth mindset, you really have to embrace it, you really have to understand that, and you really have to take advantage of that. And that, the example I was giving you with the developers, I really believe that a few months from now, you will have developers who know how to leverage GenAI at scale, and you will have the others. And I really believe that the one who are able to leverage GenAI at scale will have a competitive advantage to the others. Now it's up to the others to get to that. Now the second thing is that at the end of the day, and that's why I love this book on human plus machine, we're humans. And Shreya will argue that you could be an avatar and you can be an AI-trained computer asking me these questions. And I don't think I will answer the same way. Will I even do that? I'm really not sure. So I think that the more, my view is that the more we'll have some freedom, the more some of the tasks, could be done, by computers, by AI, by Gen AI. I think the more it enables us to center of, what makes the difference. And so I don't think that, and as part of that, of course, there's the culture, right? I believe that, in my previous job, we build a, digital factory, AI factory, etc. Culture was critical, and technology was an enabler to some extent. But yeah, I really believe that, and by the way, there is something that you said, AI is not going to make a decision for me.
Mm-hmm.
No, AI is going to assist me making the best decision.
Yeah, good clarification.
But it's not, you see what I mean? So I think that, hopefully, we're very busy every day, right? What I do when I'm not that busy, I will call some people, I will have human interaction with some people. Okay, now if technology is enabling me to do that more efficiently and is freeing me some time, great, I will use that to do what we're the best at, right?
Yeah.
Communication, collaboration, innovation. You see what I mean? So I think, culture will have a long way to go. The other thing is that, as you know, on generative AI, right? If you deploy generative AI inside your company, right? The data, the model, everything stays inside your company, right? So it's not like we're not going to have a universal answer to the same questions, because no, each environment is secure, compliant, protected, right? So anyway, so we keep the culture inside the walls of the company, right? So
that's an interesting insight there, Eric. So where do you see the future of customer transformation in all this? What can we see additional disruptions in the space?
Yeah, I really believe that. So the first step that will be the easier one is you take advantage of it. Tech companies, they have package solution that you will be able to use, and that's quite easy, right? I think the future is really how do you start to build your own AI and generative AI system on your core business. And companies that start to do that. So there are some companies that are more advanced than the others. But I really believe that, you take a look at the core, activities, that you are doing, and then how do you apply Gen AI, on your core activities. And I really think that if you do that, then you will have, it will be a massive, differentiator for you compared to the others. Now, in terms of skills, in terms of talent, in terms of investment that you need to make, it will be more than, when you just take advantage of Gen AI. The example I always like to use is that, and it's not Gen AI, it's AI, but still, if I was doing an X-ray of my lungs, let me tell you, Shri, I will ask the doctor if the doctor is using AI to check my X-ray. And the reason for that is that, there is some data that is showing that AI is able to pinpoint, cancer before a human is able to do that. Now, I would like, AI to tell me which kind of, drugs I should take, no, I don't want that, right? I want a human to be able to say that to me. But now, having someone who is assisted to be able to give that to me, yeah, of course I will do that. I will prefer that. It will be a differentiator for me because I will feel more comfortable that, in this kind of very hard situation, I have the best chances on my side. Yeah.
So thank you for your time today, Eric. I know you have to go. I appreciate your willingness to come on this podcast and share your deep and wide experiences in executing digital transformation programs. I enjoyed talking to us here, listening to your insight, and look forward to having you back again. Eric, any closing thoughts?
Thank you very much, Sri, and thank you for your leadership in the digital transformation because you are also a reference in this industry.
So thank you for watching this episode. Today we had Eric Chaniot, Senior Industry Executive, talking to us about digital transformation and the role of AI and data in accelerating such programs. He gave us a background on what DT is not and how AI has helped to shape the pace of organization transformation. He provided solid examples of successful AI-driven transformations. We also touched on the topic of culture relevance, given the rapid proliferation of this technology. In future episodes, we will continue to dwell on the valuification of things with other thought leaders and industry executives. Stay tuned.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Valuification of Things. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. If you did, please share this episode with your friends and family, and don't forget to leave a review. We're always looking for ways to improve and bring in the best content possible. If you want to be featured on this podcast, please drop us a line at podcast@valuification.com.